Welcome to Lecture 15.1, in which we will provide an introduction to population ecology. Our learning objectives for this video are to understand how demography provides information about the size and age structure of a population, understand the advantages and disadvantages of sparse and dense populations, describe the three patterns of population distribution, describe the population range of a species, understand how population growth is regulated, and discuss the long-term effects of human population growth on our planet. Ecology is a study of how living things interact with one another and with their environment. Recall from our very first lecture that ecology is organized into different levels. A population is made of multiple individuals of the same species. The community is made of multiple populations of different species and so includes all living organisms within an area. The ecosystem is composed of all the living and non-living components within an area. The living components are called biotic factors. Remember that bio means life. This includes everything that is or was living, such as animals, plants, microbes, and decaying organic matter. The non-living components are referred to as abiotic factors, so without life. This includes the soil, water, and the climate of an ecosystem. All of the ecosystems and regions on Earth then make up the biosphere. Population ecology studies the patterns and processes of a population of species and how these may change over time. This includes the demographics, which provides information about the population size and age structure, as well as population density, population range, and population distribution. Demography is a quantitative study of how population size changes over time, including information on birth rates, death rates, and life expectancies. To make studying populations a bit easier, individuals are generally grouped into cohorts based on age. The age structure is the relative number of individuals in each cohort and provides information on whether there are more younger individuals in the population or more older individuals. The fecundity rate, or birth rate, is information on the number of offspring produced within some period, usually defined as a year. The mortality or death rate is the number of individuals within a population that die within that same period of time. The demographic information can be used to construct life tables, which provide information about the life history of an organism and the life expectancy of an individual at each age. This table shows the life expectancy of a mountain sheep. For every 1,000 sheep born, 54 will die within the first 6 months of life, so the mortality rate is 54 for every 1,000 at this age range. The life expectancy at this point is 7.06, which means that for individuals who reach the age of 6 months, they can be expected on average to live for about 7 more years. Survivorship curves are graphs of the number of surviving individuals at each age interval over time. A type 1 survivorship curve is one in which mortality is low in early to middle years and higher in older individuals. This is generally the case for species in which very few offspring are produced at a time, and there is more parental care to ensure that the offspring survives, such as with humans. A type 2 survivorship curve is one in which mortality is for the most part equally likely throughout lifespan. Birds are an example of a species with this type of survivorship curve. A type 3 survivorship curve is one in which mortality is highest in early years. This is the case for trees, which can release a lot of seeds, but only a few manage to survive and grow. The ones that do survive, however, will generally live for a long time. This is also the case for other species that generally have a large number of offspring, with many dying to predation early on, but the ones that survive are able to thrive. Population density refers to the total number of individuals per unit area. Smaller animals tend to have a larger density, while larger animals tend to have a smaller density, so there is an inverse correlation between population density and size of the animal. There are different advantages and disadvantages to sparse populations, which have lower density, and dense populations. Sparser populations have the advantage of less competition for resources, less disease transmission, and less vulnerability to predators. However, the disadvantage is that there are decreased opportunities for mating and reproduction of the species. Dense populations have the advantage of more mating opportunities, but they also experience more competition, disease transmission, and vulnerability to predators. Population distribution refers to how individuals of a population are distributed within a habitat. The distribution can be uniform, which is generally the case for territorial animals such as penguins. This ensures that individuals have an exclusive space that provides them with access to resources. There is also random distribution, which generally occurs with plants, due to seeds not controlling where they land and sprout. There is also clump distribution, in which individuals cluster together in groups. This is very common and provides advantages such as better defense against predators. The population range refers to the area that a population of a species can be found in throughout its lifetime. Some species, such as the house sparrow, can be found throughout the world and on almost all continents. Other species are found in specific regions, such as the Cape sugarbird, which is found only in the southwestern portion of South Africa. The geographic range also takes into account factors like the temperature of a region, access to food and nutrients, and the presence of predators. For example, the bacteria that Taq polymerase comes from, Thermus aquaticus, grows best around 150 degrees Fahrenheit, but would not survive in water below 120 degrees Fahrenheit. On the other end, polar bears prefer to live on ice, and also primarily feed on seals and other animals found in the Arctic region. There are two models for how a population can grow. Exponential growth occurs when a population grows very rapidly, and this generally occurs when a species is introduced to a new area with abundant resources and few predators. However, over time, populations will generally begin to show logistic growth. This occurs when there are limited resources, leading to population growth slowing down over time. Eventually, it plateaus at the carrying capacity, which is a maximum population size that can be sustained by an environment. The growth rate of a population is regulated by density-dependent and density-independent factors. Density-dependent factors include competition, disease, and predation, which will affect higher density populations more than they would affect lower density populations. This graph shows the mortality rates of wild donkeys from high and low density populations. The mortality rate is much higher early on in the high density populations, and also increases in later years. Density-independent factors are not related to the density of the population, and instead are generally effects from the abiotic factors in the environment, such as weather, natural disasters, and pollution. Humans are unique in the sense that we are capable of increasing our carrying capacity by altering our environment, leading to exponential growth over the course of several centuries. Although the growth rate is beginning to slow down, the human population is still growing very quickly. As of 2024, there are approximately 8.1 billion people, and it's projected that we will reach 9 billion around 2050. Humans have been able to overcome density-dependent regulation in several ways. The development of agriculture and domesticated animals has allowed for increased supply of food. The ability to construct shelters and homes has allowed us to remain protected from the elements, as well as defend ourselves from predators. The development of public health measures, such as washing hands, has decreased disease transmission. Importantly, we are able to communicate and pass on our technology to future generations so that they may continue to benefit. However, there are consequences of exponential human growth. Resources are being depleted, and unequal access to food will likely increase. Furthermore, by taking resources, continuing to expand our geographic range, and creating plastics that do not easily degrade in the environment, we are also polluting and causing the breakdown and degradation of the natural environment. It is important to consider our future selves and the future generations of humanity and other organisms as we think about ways we can create a more sustainable world. In this video, we learned that demography quantifies how the size and age structure of a population changes over time. Populations can be sparse or dense. Dense populations have more chances for mating and reproduction, but also more competition, disease transmission, and vulnerability to predators, while sparse populations experience the opposite. Populations can have a uniform, random, or clump distribution. The population range of a species is a geographic area they can be found in, with some found in many areas and others found in specific regions. Population growth can be regulated by density-dependent factors such as competition for resources and density-independent factors such as natural disasters. The human population as a whole is still growing, so we need to consider strategies to ensure sustainable access to resources. In the next video, we will discuss community ecology. Thanks for watching.